only 6 points between us. We're in second this week, and there's only 8 points dividing first and last in our division.
Wow.
It is by far the closest. The next closest is the blue division, which we're in their conference, and they're 19 points difference. So like everybody in blue and red has a chance to make playoffs right now. We're in second behind first place by 7, but third place is only 1 point behind us, and 1 point behind us, and last place in our division is only 2 points behind us. So it is tight. We're just beating up a lot of 3-2 wins.
Wins? What are those?
Those things you're going to start getting, buddy.
I was getting ready to say, I rendered him speechless.
No, it was like, wait a minute.
I
don't want to hurt.
I knew what to do there.
I by no far want to hurt your feelings, and I think you're doing. I think you're doing. I genuinely
speechless.
I genuinely think that you are doing well. You're doing what I think we wanted from you, which is entertaining people. You're bringing a lot of really interesting decks and ideas, and you're mad scientist, and I think you're doing awesome. Keep that up. Get some wins while you're at it. That's just icing on the cake.
Well, I have the 3 1600 Dust cast members back to back to back. Say,
Joy.
It's going to be
starting this week, because you play Ziggy this week, right?
Yeah,
it's 1600 Dust.
Yeah, and then you've already played Chris.
No, yes.
Oh
no, I haven't played Chris.
So you play all.
I played everybody but Ben Reddington.
He's got to play
part of 1600 Dust. I have 4 games left.
Oh, okay.
All 3 1600 Dust members, and then I get WoW.Ben as my last game.
Gotcha.
Well, if nerfs do happen, you may be the best poised to adapt to it. I'm just telling you that. Not that I have any insight on any of the other UHL competitors, Chris Plummer.
Well, I will say this. Playing the 1600 Dust crew means that I will have to drink an energy drink or a coffee or something.
Because they're all West Coast.
They're all West Coast.
Yep.
Yeah.
So instead of my games being at the first of the week, my games are going to end up being at the end of the week because I'm going to have to play them on a Friday or Saturday night.
Yeah. Matt at Arms says completing the 4800 Dust challenge.
Yep.
16,
32.
Yeah, that's right. 4800, yeah. Yeah, that's right.
I love how you didn't trust him. Like math is your strong suit.
Math is my strong suit.
Is it really?
Math? Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I could have sworn that you were.
It ain't science. Guy. I had the F to prove it.
No, the only reason.
So wait. Hold on a second. You copied Zeroshio?
No.
See, here's the thing. We talked about this, I think, last week. I had a technique, and that was ace all my homework, my tests, do all extra credit, so I could pull a 0 on the science fair project, and I would pass with a D because I couldn't devote the time because I had jobs, home responsibilities. I didn't do homework at home because I couldn't. Because I had an adult life. Because my dad was a truck driver and I raised my sister and my mom worked 2 and 3 jobs. So my math got me through science. Well, one year they decided to have the science fair project and they gave me a partner. I never had a partner. Well, my theory still worked for me. Why wouldn't it work for him?
But his partner got an F.
That's fantastic.
His partner got the approval to redo his part of it. I still got a 0. He got a C, I think it was.
Yeah.
C minus. Who knows? And he ended up failing science because his test scores and homework wasn't enough, and I got by with a D minus.
So I'm going to
because
tell
I
you
aced
something.
everything and did all the extra credit.
I'm going to tell you something. It might make you a little mad.
Maybe.
So I was swimming at the time. I swam in the mornings before school. I swam directly after school, left my high school practice, and went to the city league and swam in the city league. And I lifeguarded. So I was pretty busy too. So I stayed up all night the night before my science project was due. And like at 10 p.m. the night before, I hadn't done anything on my science project. I pulled out the board for the first time. I put together a science project on the population growth of the African and Indian elephants, because that was the first thing I flipped to in the random encyclopedia I pulled down, was I flipped to elephants. So I cut up one of the World Book encyclopedias we had for the pictures. I threw together a science project, and I got an A on it, and she sent it to the science fair.
Well, my biggest problem was
I don't know if you can
is
see that.
about the time you were doing that, I was going to work, and I worked till 7 in the morning cleaning showers at a truck stop. So I got off work at 7 in the morning and had to be at school at 8.
Oh.
This is before labor laws.
Yeah, I lifeguarded at 15. So.
Oh, it's 7:32. We're late.
Oh, we're late.
Hey, look at that. We're just having way too much fun.
That's right.
All right. We don't need to do that. We got a heck of a show lined up.
We
so
do.
Let's go.
All right.
Rapid
Starting
fire.
in 5, 4, 3.
We don't got time for 5.
Welcome to Hero Power. I'm your host, Avantes, and as always, I am joined by my co-hosts, Zeroshio.
Hey, gang. Okay, let's go.
And Versika. Back from Jamaica. And you're muted. There you are.
It's a busy night. There's always room at the Hearthstone table.
That's right.
Correction from last week, and I was informed this by Mrs. Versika's wife, that they were not in the Bahamas. They were in Jamaica. He was not drinking peach beers. They were Red Stripes. All right.
Correction done.
You know what the crazy part was? I didn't even know she sent that. She
Really?
never told me. This is the first.
Nice.
Your text makes so much more sense now.
So
I was like, what is he talking about?
Saturday, while we were at the Tavern Hero qualifier, I get a text from Mrs. Versika that reads, "Just listen to the opening of this week's Hero Power. 1, we are in Jamaica, not the Bahamas. And 2, you saying Versika has been replaced because he lost his matches was hilarious," in all capital letters.
Yeah.
And 3, to James, "Alex is drinking Red Stripes, not peach-flavored beer. You guys made me almost pee from laughing so hard."
And to that, I have to say, yay, beer!
I switched to mojitos as soon as they got the mint.
Oh, I knew he was going to mojitos. That was a given.
Yeah. All right, guys. We have just a little bit of news to talk about this week. So, I know we've all had fun this past weekend, but we need to get to it. So, first up, everybody's been talking for a while now about how I wish we had some ranked ladder changes. Well, guess what, guys? Ranked ladder changes are coming.
So real quick, before we get started on this change was so powerful that it reverberated through virtually no internet and managed to make it to my phone on a tropical island that I didn't see cell service on until I got to the airport. But somehow these changes made it all the way through, and they were on my phone when I took it out of the safe. I was like, whoa.
Nice.
It was the power of the Holy Brode.
That's right.
Brought the information to you.
That's right.
He was like running around California with an antenna on his back or something. Okay.
So last week, or this weekend, I guess, Brode released a new Designer Insight video where
very well done, by the way.
Yes, where he outlined these changes. So briefly, at the start of the season, your starting rank will be 4 ranks lower than what you finished at the previous season.
Okay.
Which is fantastic.
That was the video. There's clarification
yes,
on that.
Exactly. We'll get to that. All ranks will now be 5 stars. So instead of 20 to 15 being 3 stars and then 4 stars and then 5 stars, they're all going to be 5 stars no matter what rank you are.
Mm-hmm. That's not so fantastic.
And
hold on. I'll tell you why I don't think it's fantastic here in a minute.
And 5 rank wins will reward ranked chest rewards, including the card back. So, Versika, why do you think that's not so great?
So, in the first breath, they say, we're going to make winning more impactful. So, you don't have to try and do the entire legend climb in 1 month.
Yes.
Right? You can do it a step at a time, take multiple months, work your way up. So that sounds fantastic, right?
Yes.
Then in the next sentence you say, but all the ranks are 5. So basically it's like you take having to play aggro to get legend out of the equation a little bit by allowing people to work up, and then you put it right back into the equation by adding more games to get there. It didn't really. It's like, okay, so it's like the problem is there, and you kind of taken half of what we said is the problem, and then it's just like you don't really understand the ladder -5. It's like for people that are consistently getting legend, keeping them at the top of the ladder is fantastic for the entire player base. Don't get me wrong. But you didn't really fix part of what makes it hard to climb that 20 to 10 range. You actually kind of just drew the problem out.
I don't know if I see where you're coming from, and your point makes sense. Again, I'm one that tends to be around the rank 5 area, so maybe I don't empathize as much, but if they didn't add stars, it would cause people just to rocket up into that 5 range and stay there pretty much forever. This kind of stretches it out, kind of puts everybody on plateaus instead of like an incline, and it causes that accordion effect not to happen so much. Now, does this mean somebody that normally is in the 20 to 10 range will take a little longer to get up to what ranks they used to? Yes, I believe it will. However, as long as they're progressing more than 4 ranks, that's constant progression. They may not get up towards the higher end like rank 5 in a month, but they may never been able to get to 5, and now they can get to 5, maybe even legend over the course of 3 or 4 months.
I'm not saying that that's wrong. I guess what I was trying to say is rampant aggro into a control deck, into rampant aggro, into rampant control, into aggro, with no real in between, makes it hard to climb that anyway.
Okay.
And you're adding more games into that segment. And they said they wanted meaningful progression and to feel like you were playing games and meaningfully progressing. And I get in a vacuum how that works, but it means that they didn't really take a look at the type of games being played in that 20 to 10 range and evaluated what the real problem or where the real problem lie. So I'm okay with 5 games. Actually, I like the whole idea of 5 games, no win streaks from 10 all the way to Legend. I think that's a fantastic idea because I think then you start separating your caliber of player there. But I think that 20 to 10 range is where a lot of your casuals play. And I think by lengthening that out, I think you almost encouraged aggro at that point. So it may have the adverse effect in simplifying that meta because everyone's just going to play aggro to get to 10.
Now,
and that's where they'll hit their wall instead of hitting it 15 or 13 or whatever. They just extended that wall up to 10. So they're going to get another 15 games before they start having back and forth. But it's I mean,
well, the benefit
you kind of
is
see
when
where
they
I'm coming from.
I see where you're coming from. I don't think you're necessarily wrong. I think a lot of it's going to flesh itself out in March when we actually see how people's experience on the ladder changes. Now, one good thing about the insight, the designer insight that he did, is he did point out that this isn't necessarily a fix-all solution and that they are planning on reevaluating the ladder moving forward, meaning if they do find these little inconsistencies or find out that they may have overtuned something or maybe the stars change didn't work out, they are open to make adjustments to it. So it's good that they've actually said that they are still going to continue to monitor it after the changes to see if the changes gave the results they wanted. So it's possible that what you say is going to happen and it's going to be an adverse effect, and they may make changes in it in the next month or a couple months afterwards once they see how it affects. Now, I don't think it will so much because those players that hit that wall at 10, the next month will only go down to 14, so they have less games to get to that wall and maybe eventually perfect getting past the 10 hurdle, and then they hit the next wall, which is 5. I do think the floors are going to be more impactful. You'll have a lot of people stuck at 5, 10, 15, 20. And it will be harder to get to 20 now, even though you don't lose stars. You have to generate consistent wins at 5 stars a rank instead of 2 or 3. I think it's 3 stars at the very beginning.
I think it will definitely push newer players out of ladder until they build their collection a little bit. They will almost have to play in casual.
The thing is they'll have to win at least 5 games, and I think they can do that in casual as well, which may open up casual so it's actual casual now.
Right.
But you have to win 5 games over the course of a month to get your card back, which I don't think is too far-fetched.
I do think he said 5 ranked games.
I believe it's just 5 games because you could even play casual and oh no, you have to get to rank 20, don't you? No, yeah. I guess it would be ranked games. Yeah,
I'm pretty sure he said ranked games, but
still
I think he said it in the clarification statement. I don't think it was in the original. I think it was in the clarification.
That could be it. I know that if they have to get 5 stars, it's not going to be any different than getting 5 wins to get up to rank 20 anyways. So it shouldn't be that impactful of a change.
But they have to win less to get their card pack or their card back in their chest. But they have to win more to get to rank 20.
Yes, but rank 20 isn't like a benchmark where you have to hit. It's just a rank floor now. Now, he did make a clarification because one concern I had was I have many months like this one where I get up to 3 and then I fall down to 5. And does that mean I need to stop playing when I get to 3 if I don't think I'm going to get further? But Ben Brode gave a correction that the new rank that you'll receive the next month will be on your highest rank obtained. not your finishing rank. And there was just some communication that he didn't understand, and he fessed up to it. He's like he just misunderstood the verbiage, because again he's the director. He doesn't necessarily have every little minute detail about how some of those features work. He just knows they work. So that makes me happy, because there are a lot of months that I'll get up to 1 and then fall all the way back down to 5, and it'll be nice to know that at least I'm going to start rank 5 next month instead of starting out at rank 9.
Yep.
Okay.
All right, so let's actually did. So you
I mean,
kinda,
we'll have
you kinda
plenty
touched
of
on
time
those
to
changes.
debate this. So.
Yeah, exactly. And you kind of touched on those changes, but it'll be highest rank obtained, not where you finished. So that's the big thing.
Yes.
We had some other big news, and that was
Huge Mammoth news.
Mammoth size news. The year of the Mammoth pack event.
See, Rod just can't give you the head check like I can.
Hey,
No, he can't.
what does your sign say behind you there, Zeroshio?
I don't know what's behind me. I can't read it.
Oh, yeah.
Anyways,
Okay.
the year of the
You can read
Mammoth
it.
pack event.
The year of the Mammoth pack event. So basically, okay. Now this is going to be rumor and conjecture until we know more. But quest for pack events, complete quests from February 1st through the 14th to be entered into a drawing for prizes. Mammoth card bundle. You will be able to buy 10 packs of Ngoro, 10 packs of Knights of the Frozen Throne, and 10 packs of Kobolds and Catacombs for $19.99. So that's 30 packs for $20. Heck of a
Now,
good
that's
deal.
$19.99 US. I
Yeah.
think other countries
Price will vary
differently.
based on your area. You can only buy the bundle one time. Keep that in mind. You can only purchase the bundle one time. It's like all the other bundles they've released in the past.
Right.
And the reason I said rumor and conjecture is, as of right now, there has not been any announced maintenance or patch time for tomorrow. Now, I'm sure, they will probably patch. It is rumored to be February 1st, and that is also to include the balance changes that we are going to talk about here in just a second.
Well, we'll know by when we wake up in the morning, because Europe would have gotten it first, right?
I don't know. They said that it theoretically should be done by 9 a.m. Pacific time.
Okay.
Well, let's get to that. We have the link to the event blog on our show notes, but I'll read a couple inserts here that have us thinking that the patch may come up. It's to celebrate the amazing adventures we had together in the year of the Mammoth, starting at 9 a.m. PST on February 1st up until 9 p.m. PST on February 14th. Each daily quest you complete during the quest for packs grants you one entry for a chance to win 3,000 Hearthstone packs, the Lich King's helmet, and even more. So further down in the list, it said you can win a free Mammoth card bundle when you quest for packs, which is the name of the event, but for a limited time, starting with the arrival of the upcoming 10.2 update. You'll also be able to purchase one. So this tells me that at 9 a.m. on the 1st, they're going to do the 10.2 update, which is going to contain this event. Now, this brings us to our next topic, which is the balance changes that Team 5 and Ben Brode have announced, which are coming with update 10.2, which does not have a disclosed date yet. Now, this is a series of nerfs that we are going to see, they said, in February. These are the rumored nerfs that Ben Brode alluded to last month before HCT tournament that will be announced in February, which looked to be as if they will come in February now from this announcement. Before we get into the nerfs, reading the Quest for Pack promotion, and it's saying that it's going to come with 10.2 on, and that the event starts February 1st. Would this not let you speculate that the patch is going to hit tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. Pacific Standard Time? Silence? You're muted.
Trying to point at you because I'm sitting in your living room.
Yeah. I would say yes.
Oh, no, this way.
There we go. I would say yes, but as is being pointed out in our chat, the version of the game we are currently on is 10.0.0.
Yes.
0.22611. So what happened to version 10.1 of the game?
See, I thought that the quest for packs would be 10.1, but it specifically states that it is coming with the 10.2 update in the announcement for the quest for packs. Now, we did have the wonderful Mad at Arms. I know you mentioned it in another channel. I think it might have been our team chat for our Sylvanas League, but Smiley Chris, and I think he's a pro player in the scene, made a post this morning at 2:39 or 2:36 in the morning. Says, "We just got told by a Blizzard employee in attorney Discord that the patch won't land before this weekend. However, the announcement of the Quest for Packs event specifically states that it would land on February 1st at 9 a.m. So obviously, now there's been no official announcements of times yet, but Blizzard kind of is on their own timetable and just does it when they do it sometimes.
Yeah, launching with a patch and launching during a patch could be do different things. So,
well, if the quest for packs launches as a 10.1, then it wouldn't be available at 10.2. It'd be available before then. I don't know. That's some weird verbiage. Honestly, I don't think we're going to know until tomorrow morning. And if you're listening to us on a download, you'll obviously know this information already. But I know I'm in 2 leagues, and to have the possibility of having to plan for my match tomorrow evening with the new Nerfs after I've already submitted my classes, that's a wrench. And I know there's tournaments going on this weekend, online, Strivewire, things like that, and these changes will be in, and people will have to make decisions real quickly on their decks. Now, I love it because this is kind of the type of environment I thrive in, making decisions last minute based on last minute changes. But I know right now everybody's kind of stammering around wondering what's going to happen tomorrow morning.
Yeah, exactly. And we'll just have to wait and see. At this point, we don't know. But let's talk about those nerfs you were talking about. So with 10.2, there are going to be 4 major changes coming to the game. First up, we have a change to Bone Mare. Now, Bone Mare is a common card, 7 mana, 5/5. Give a friendly minion +4/+4 in taunt. Well, this new change is increasing the mana cost by 1 to make it an 8 mana, 5/5. Give a friendly minion +4/+4 in taunt. Personally, I don't really think this is going to affect Bone Mare majorly. I think it'll still see play quite a bit. What do you guys think? Zeroshio, we'll start with you.
What I think this is, Bone Mare, it's not going to affect the playability or drafting in Arena of Bone Mare. However, it will severely affect the playability of both Spiteful Summoner and Free from Amber. Because now you get a chance to get a 5/5 if you pull your Free from Amber off Spiteful Summoner. Now, if you cast Spiteful Summoner, that's only 1 bad pick, but it's 1 more bad pick in the pool of the 8 mana and up. But if you use Spiteful Summoner for anything like Free from Amber or Dino Size, you now have a chance to get a 5/5 off of it, which reduces that effectiveness of the deck even more than the rest of these nerfs, which most of these cards well, 3 out of the 4 cards are regularly in the Spiteful decks, whether it's Spiteful Priest, Spiteful Druid, Spiteful Paladin. Any Spiteful decks usually has 3 of the 4 cards that were nerfed.
Okay. Versika?
I think this affects decks that run 2 Bone Mares in a deck that just runs 1. I don't know that it affects it very much. The 8 slot is a little crowded right now. It'll free up a little bit with the rotation, pending what comes out in the new sets. Because it's a top-end card, like Zerotio said, you're losing Evolve, but you're not losing Unstable Evolution. I think this hits that style of Shaman pretty hard. It hits the Summoner. It hits the Summoner decks. You're usually using it for a tempo swing, though, and I don't know that the 1 extra mana cost, like I said, in the decks that are just running 1, I don't know that it'll make a big impact there. But like, I don't see this when it's at the top end of tempo decks. I don't see them. I see them cutting both. I don't see them just using 1. So they're either gonna cut both of them, or it's not going to affect the deck. I don't see that. I don't see a deck using 2 cutting down to 1, and I don't see a deck using 1 cutting down to 0. I think it only affects the decks using 2.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I would agree with that.
Okay, cool. Moving on to our next nerfed card, we got the Corridor Creeper. 7 mana, 5/5, costs 1 less whenever a minion dies while it's in your hand, is now going to be a 7 mana, 2/5 that costs 1 less whenever a minion dies while this is in your hand. So, as some of you may have seen, it is a 3 attack deduction, which is really big for this card. And now, while there was a lot of talk that this card was really OP right after the set released, this kind of really reins him in, and now I honestly only see him getting played in decks that either have Beast synergy or, gosh, maybe like a buff deck, like Paladin maybe, or aggro Druid. I mean, I don't know. What do you guys think? Versika, we'll switch it up and start with you this time.
I think this was a huge nerf to Corridor Creeper. I don't think you're going to see him in beast-centric decks. If you do, maybe a one-of, but I just... It's hard for me to imagine at 7 mana for a 2/5 that in these new sets coming up, he won't be quickly replaced by something out of the new set. I think Control Paladin using Spike Ridge Steed after a board wipe is a very solid play on this Corridor Creeper. And I think you will still see this card in a control style Unstable Evolution Shaman. Right now, that's the only places I see it. I think the nerf was a little too harsh. I think at 3/5 you might see it. A 4/5 you would still see it. Probably one-ofs. I don't think a 2/5, a 7 mana 2/5 is going to see. When I say 7 mana, I mean you get him in the opening hand. Of course, it's going to be less than that. I think you can pretty much rule him out of any aggro deck and most tempo decks. I think the only place you'll see him now will be control decks. And I don't think you'll see that much of it.
Okay. Zerotio?
Corridor Creeper, you're dead to me. That's all I got.
All right. So I'm with Boyd in chat. I think I'm probably going to disenchant mine for the full 800 dust value for the 2 that I have. You guys in on that, or you think you're going to hold on to them?
No, I will definitely be dusting mine. I really, the decks that I'm playing, he doesn't work in at 2-5, so he's out.
All right.
Yeah, he's done, and I'm usually the advocate for trying to find ways to use nerf cards, but they went overboard. I think if they would have taken the attack and put it on the health and made him like a 2/8, it was doable in something like a combo priest with inner fire. But yeah, they killed it. It's done. It's Warsong Commander is having beers with Corridor Creeper at the retirement home. Making crochet Hearthstone covers.
Yeah, welcome to the club of the irrelevant, he says.
Yeah.
Yep.
She says.
All right. Next up is another card that I will be dusting, and that is Patches the Pirate. He is a 1-mana 1/1 with charge. After you play a pirate, summon this minion from your deck.
You didn't even have to read that. Everybody knows what Patches does.
Everybody
hears I'm in charge now 40 times a day, even if you don't play 40 games.
The change is he's still a 1-mana 1/1. He still comes into play after you play a pirate, but he no longer attacks the turn he comes into play. So the real question is he still in charge?
Well, that was the first thing they mentioned on Reddit, and I think it was Mike Donay said that they have already pulled alternate voice lines for the card. So they had already thought of this. And I got to say, this is a little unfair because the main reason Avanti is going to disenchant this card is because he got it in golden and is going to get 3,200 dust for it.
Oh, yeah.
And that's not fair. That's not fair at all.
Plus the 800 from my Corridor Creepers?
He would have disenchanted it anyway.
Yeah, but he would have only gotten one legendary. Now he gets 2.
Yeah.
This is one that I don't think I'm going to disenchant him. And this is similar to when Leroy was nerfed and everybody said disenchant. He's unplayable at, what's he, 5 mana now, and he was 4. Or is he 6? I can't remember what Leroy is anymore.
He's 5.
He's 5. Yeah, he's 5. He's unplayable at 5, and I kept him and never regretted it because he became useful. Now, Patches, however, the only big benefit for him would be to thin your deck and cheat out a minion that can die for Corridor Creeper. However, if Corridor Creeper's not playable, will Patches be playable? Because that's really the only real reason other than maybe a combo deck. And in a combo deck, you really don't want to water down with pirates just to cheat him out. So I will probably disenchant this, but I'll feel bad about it.
My turn?
Your turn.
Yeah.
Okay.
Let it go.
So, to me, this is Blizzard admitting the problem. The problem is charge. You should have just given him the Devil Sword treatment.
Yep.
In fact, you should just go ahead and go through and say, you should just change the charge mechanic to can't attack heroes the turn it comes into play.
Okay.
But to me, the problem with Patches isn't that you pull it from the deck because they left that in there. The problem was that it hit you before you had a chance to respond. And in decks like Shaman, where you can put out a Flame Tongue Totem on turn 2, that made it very hard to contain him before it was time to go. So here's the deal. This should have been done a year ago.
Yes.
The patches nerf came too late.
Well, one of our patrons and people in chat, Boyd, actually created a meme for this he wanted me to share. It says, Patches can't be in charge if he doesn't have charge.
Right. Now, I agree with you 100%, Versika, especially about the whole charge and them admitting the charge is a problem. Would giving it the Devil Sword treatment fix the problem? I don't think so. Mainly because most of the time you don't play him. You have him cheated out of your deck. Well, unless you're unless you're Ringo, and then you always get him in your opening hand. But
Well, that's why I was saying you change the mechanic.
well, but the mechanic would be like a battle cry, not necessarily if there's. I don't know if changing the mechanic works. I do like doing the charge devil sword thing on impactful charges where they get a battle cry they can't attack.
Yeah, I was going to say,
still allows you to summon the devil sword and do shenanigans with it.
I have seen a lot of people on Twitter this week and on Reddit saying, why not just change charge to be a battle cry so that it's battle cry charge, or battle cry can attack the turn it comes into play.
Can attack minions the turns it comes into play.
That would work too. I think
The
so.
battle, you change the fundamental impact of charge.
Mm-hmm.
Like, there is no minion that can attack face the turn it comes into play. That mechanic is just gone from the game. You have minions that can attack other minions when they come into play. And that is charge.
Yep.
And I think that not only does it still benefit aggro decks because it allows you to control the board state the turn they come into play, it's still an impactful battle cry. It's just, we said it before, in a game where you cannot interact with your opponent's board state during their turn, charge is too powerful. And to me, this is Blizzard admitting that the mechanic of patches that makes patches unique, which is pulling it from your deck when you play a pirate, wasn't the problem. It was the fact that patches could attack you the turn it came into play was the problem. So if you're admitting it with patches, why don't you admit it down the board?
I agree with you 100%. I mean, some of your most impactful OTKs back in the day, and even in some meme decks that are out right now, involve doing shenanigans like that with Leroy and copying Leroy and buffing up Leroy and making a copy of it. And so, yeah, the problem with decks like that is charge, and it doesn't make the game feel good when you're playing against it because it feels like there's nothing you could do because there's no way of interacting on your turn, so you can't interact with a charged minion. Right. It's basically, it's basically a spell that, like a fireball, that sticks to the board that you still have to deal with next turn if it doesn't kill you. But the different part is you can do all kinds of minion shenanigans by buffing up and copying, where you really can't do that with a spell like a fireball. I think you've talked about this for 2 years now, that charge has been a problem, and I've agreed with you pretty much for the most part. I think this is them finally realizing this. Does this mean that something like Leroy Jenkins goes to the Hall of Fame? Maybe. They haven't announced anything about Hall of Fame lists yet. But Leroy could be on that list. And charge may be just a dead mechanic.
Yeah, maybe.
Well, even the warrior spell, charge, specifies can't attack the hero when it comes into play. Yep. It's like,
now,
okay,
they nerfed
card,
it, yeah.
If your base card of the mechanic says it can't do it, it should apply to all. That's just, it's a soapbox I need to get off of. We need to move on to the show.
All right. So the last card being changed is Raza the Chained. So everybody, this is again one of those cards most everybody's probably seen on ladder. Raza's a 5-mana 5/5 with a battle cry. If your deck has no duplicates, your hero power costs 0 this game. Well, it's being changed to read, if your deck has no duplicates, your hero power costs 1 this game. Now, is that going to affect it right now in standard? Yes. Probably. Yes, it's going to make an immediate effect. But it's almost like, I feel like this change is not to do with standard, but more to do with it being moved to wild.
And why?
Because you're going to have things that it interacts with, like Emperor Thorison, that are basically going to go, oh, these low cost spells that you're casting now cost 1 less. Your hero power costs 1 less. It's the same as if your hero power costs 0.
But why?
Tell us.
So this to me is the most telling nerf out of all 4 cards. This tells us that Blizzard does in fact care about Wild. A lot of players think that Blizzard does not care about Wild. They did a one-time tournament that had a very low prize pool. They haven't really made a lot of changes that affect Wild. They tend to just throw things in a Wild like it's the tree line that the serial killer comes stomping through at every horror movie. They don't care if the card dies in there or not, or ends up becoming the serial killer. They don't care. That's what players think. However, I believe this is Team 5 saying we need to put a hold on Wild. We need to make sure Wild is enjoyable. We have a lot of players that are primarily Wild players. We need to look at Wild, and I think this is the first step. We saw Magic the Gathering deal with this early in its infancy when it actually had a restricted format and a Type 1 format, which eventually became a legacy format, and they end up having multiple formats because they've had to kind of pigeonhole sets because the format was just getting so crazy. I think this is the start of that. I think this is a good start. I think we might actually start seeing nerfs for cards that are already in Wild because of the way they impact Wild. And this Raza, while it's already in Wild now, obviously people can use it. It's very impactful in Wild right now with the Anduin combo. And I think with cards coming out in the future sets, they realized that the Raza Anduin combo would break Wild with some of the new cards they're releasing, which might be that they're going back to working with hero powers like they did with the Grand Tournament, but maybe in a better way than Inspire, or maybe revisiting the Inspire mechanic. Yeah. Who knows? But it's good to see them taking this preventative maintenance, and for lack of better terms, for the Wild format. I like it.
Versika?
I agree with almost everything he said. No. And the one thing that I just, and it's not even that you said something that I don't agree with. It's more like I think you left out a key component of one of the things you were explaining. Mm-hmm. This nerf to Raza had to be made with the impact of the future sets in mind, but it also had to be made with the impact of the previous sets, and melding that balance was difficult. And I think that not only should they be applauded for taking into account Wild, I think they need to be applauded for actually taking a card that a lot of people consider overpowered, that has really defined part of a meta, and not nerfing it into the ground. Mm-hmm. This card is still very playable. It's a little more dependent than it used to be, but it didn't destroy a deck archetype. It is still very much viable. You still can run a lot of the same combo that you just had. You just have to work harder to get it, and requires a little more setup, and the Wild cards allow you to do that. You have so much more control in Wild with Entomb, with Light Bomb. You pretty much, if you left this card the way it was, you pretty much just don't get to play anymore after turn 5 against a Priest, and you just wait for them to machine gun you down in one turn. This at least allows you to stay in the game and fight back, but it doesn't keep the Priest from being able to win with how they've been winning. It was a very delicate balance that they walked, not only with the future of Wild in mind, but they're doing it in a way where they don't have to go back and nerf 8 Priest cards just to keep it from running rampant with what's coming out now. Because, I mean, Radiant Elemental is powerful. Thaurissan is powerful. anything that reduces the mana cost of something is powerful. If they're revisiting Inspire, if they're revisiting more mana manipulation, this says what this in Corridor Creeper says to me is, okay, we realize that while we may still like this mechanic, we probably need to be a little more careful with the initial onset of power. And what I would like to see them do is to have some cards come out like this that are a little underpowered and pull their power level up. I would like to see, instead of these cards coming out just like OP right off the bat, I would like to see this bat swing in the opposite direction for a little bit. I would like to see some of these underpowered cards come out, and maybe you look at something, you're just like, ooh, we tweaked this just a little bit, it might be overpowered. Let's dial it back a little bit, release it, see what the players think, and maybe we ratchet it up just a little bit if it's a little undertuned. That's... Yeah. I would like to see a little bit of that instead of releasing it and then having to wait 4, 6, in Raza's case, a year, in Patch's case, almost 2 years before you pull back because you're afraid to swing a card like Corridor Creeper. I mean, this is a pendulum swing for Corridor Creeper. What if Corridor Creeper had come out as a 3/3? Try it as a 3/3. Yeah. If it sticks, or you may see a little bit of play, or it doesn't see any play at all, maybe you buff it up to a 4/4 and see if it gets any traction there. And start pulling those up a little bit until you see it start to enter the meta, instead of letting it dominate a meta and then having to whack it across the head and put it out of its misery.
And that's something they usually haven't done. I think the only case where they've actually really buffed a card, if I'm not mistaken, was the Unleash the Hounds, where they nerfed it and realized they nerfed it too much, and they nerfed it to 4 mana, from 2 to 4 mana, and then pushed it back to 3.
Yeah.
That's the only time that I know of, and that was back, wasn't that still in beta when they did that?
Yeah, when I started playing, Unleash the Hounds was 4.
Yeah, and see, it was 2 before that, because when I was playing, it was 2. I will get out my crystal ball here a little bit. They have played with multi-class functionality, mainly in Arena, but obviously with Mean Streets of Gadgetzan, they had ways with the Cabal and the Lotus, the Jade Lotus, and the Grime Street, Grime Street Goons, where you could kind of mix and match some of your classes. And maybe they're seeing that was fun, but they could do it in a better way. And the sets coming out this year might play with that a little bit. And could you imagine in Wild with Raza the way it is now, and you can have access to a better, more easy access to something like Koldara Drake with Anduin, will break the game. So maybe this is one of those design changes where they see they're going to be making changes that could impact Wild with the type of cards that are there. Similar to what they did with sending Sylvanas to the Hall of Fame, specifically because of all the changes they were going to make that would have broken the game with Sylvanas. So I think this is a good change. It's not so much it's impactful on the meta currently. I mean, it will be until the next set, but it's more foretelling what may happen in the future.
And you actually bring up, you kind of brought it up in your initial analysis, and you sort of brought it up again just then. We're going to get a real feel for how important Wild is to Blizzard when this next set rotates in, because they rotated Sylvanas out for a reason. Yeah. They rotated Ragnaros out for a reason. So now that these sets that were out, once they were rotated out, now that they're coming into Wild, they've been played in Wild with the Standard this year. So nothing really changed in Wild. But the start of this next year, this next Hearthstone year, you're going to start seeing some of the cards that they were designing when they made the decision to send Sylvanas and Ragnaros into Wild only. So
I think so.
Was it their mechanics that sent them there, or was it that they were tired of trying to design cards that were powerful enough to replace Sylvanas and Ragnaros in decks. If that's all it was, then they'll stay the same, and we'll know pretty quickly in. But let's just say they were looking at cards and they're like, we can't do this because Sylvanas and Ragnaros are going to be in Standard.
Yeah, and Matt at Arms in chat brings up kind of what I was alluding to. One of the main reasons Sylvanas went to Hall of Fame, I believe, and he believes, is Umbra and Dark Pact and Cube, or Carnivorous Cube, were cards that if you had Sylvanas in the meta in Standard right now, it'd be ridiculous. I mean, basically 7 mana allows you to put out a 5/5, kill it, gain 8 health, and take a minion from your opponent, and that's I mean, Cube's already doing things that are unfair. They don't need Sylvanas too. And honestly, in Wild, from some of the Wild reports that I gotten from other podcasts, from the likes of Danny Donuts and Bodicus over on Crooked Seed, is that Warlock is in a good, probably overpowered place in Wild right now. The only reason it's kind of reined in is because you can also do other crazy shenanigans over there that kind of keeps it in check. But with other sets coming out, you never know. And then maybe they just don't want Raza to be one of those keys that cause something to break even more in a format that's hard to control anyways.
Right, and that's kind of, I guess, where I was going with it was, Wild is so crazy, but you have so many different options and so many different ways to handle things that was Raza really as broken? In chat they were talking about Raza wasn't really broken until Anduin got here. That's true. So we really only had to put up with Raza Anduin for what now? It's going to end up being 8 months before it's all said and done, right? No.
Yeah, 4 and 4. Yeah.
Yeah.
That equals 8. I'm at.
So. The Raza Anduin combo is present in Wild right now, so it doesn't really break anything. The Cube Sylvanas Dark Pact combo is in Wild right now, so it doesn't really break anything. You could kind of do sort of that same kind of stuff with Shadow Flame. It's there. You got stuff to handle it, or stuff that is different, and maybe there's too many things in one slot to fit all of it in. I don't know. This year will be telling.
Yes. For
what happens to Wild, because new mechanics are going to come out. You have this interesting dichotomy of power creep going on with what is too much, what is too little. Yetis, which saw a lot of play early, is no longer getting play. Instead of battle cries, now you've got cards like Order Creeper that it's hand that the ability comes from. You've got cards that are doing it a turn stuff now that are really high mana cost, really low stats. They're trying all these different things. They've got something back there that is just they're scared to put out. They're trying all these mechanics and things that aren't going to break the meta on purpose, because what they really want to do is sitting behind the curtain, and they're afraid to do anything that's going to be so impactful that when it comes out, it just all crashes and burns.
It's that limited design space they keep referring to.
Right.
How certain cards will limit a design space. They talked about that with Dreadsteed. They talked about it with Patches. Yeah. They talked about it with Small Time Buccaneer, how they changed that card like 3 times within 2 weeks of the site release. So yeah, I agree with you there, and that tells me we're going to see a lot of good things this year. My prediction is we're going to have the year of the stag, and I think that the new sets this year are really going to go outside the box, because now you're going to have by the end of this year, the largest pool of standard cards, because you'll have 6 total sets of 135 cards each.
Right. Karazhan will rotate out, and a set will replace it.
So that tells me they're saying we have a larger pool to deal with. We can have a couple duds, or a couple cards we end up having to nerf. So that tells me that allows them to do more exciting, crazy things, because the players are used to a smaller set of cards to pull from. Now they're going to have a larger set So they can actually have some kind of weird mechanics happen, kind of like what they did with TGT. I think TGT with the joust mechanic wouldn't have been so bad if they had more good cards that they could put in its place as a player base.
I think TGT wasn't successful as a set because goblins versus gnomes was too powerful.
That's fair. That's fair.
If you had reversed those sets and TGT had come out first, I think that TGT would have been a well received set.
Yeah.
Fair.
All right, we got to move on, guys. This has been a good conversation, but we've got to move on. We're running out of time. This week's Tavern Brawl is a new brawl. It's the Unidentified Brawl. And basically, after every successful dungeon run, your bags are overflowing with unidentified loot. Take a random deck into battle and identify those items. So this is a very RNG heavy brawl because they're random decks. You don't know what you're going to get. And then even when you draw the card, it's a random what the card's going to be.
Yeah, you get 2 copies of all 3 unidentifiable items, and it's unidentifiable.
Yeah, okay.
Well, you butchered that one.
Yeah. So, yeah. It's fun. I'm 2-0 with it so far. Completed my
one and done.
I completed my hunter quest for the day with it, so can't complain.
I high rolled everything in one game. My opponent emoted me, conceded, and it sent me a friend request, and it was one of the few I decided not to accept.
So, all right, moving.
You don't even have to ask me what I think.
No, that's why I was moving on to the deck for the week.
Garbage
nice.
brawl.
So this week's deck is Spiteful Druids. Now, this is probably a deck you've been seeing a lot of lately. It's relatively new on the scene, and it's not aggro druid, so a lot of people have kind of been switching over to play this deck. So
it can be misread as aggro druid if you get a decent start.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
So I'm going to run down the deck list, and then I'll turn it over to Zeroshio to kind of talk about a little bit about this deck. So it's 2 Enchanted Raven, 2 Glacial Shard, Patches the Pirate, Prince Keleseth, 2 Greedy Sprots, 2 South Sea Captains, 2 Tar Creepers, 2 Mire Keepers, 2 Saranat Chain Gang, 1 Spellbreaker, 1 Cobalt Scalebane, Leroy Jenkins, 2 Spiteful Summoners, 2 Bone Mare, 2 Corridor Creeper, Malfurion the Pestilent, 1 Grand Archivist, 1 the Lich King, and 2 Ultimate Infestations. So, Zeroshio, tell us a little bit more about how this deck plays.
So if you played Spiteful Priest, it's very similar. However, it's the Archivist casting the Ultimate Infestation can go in your favor or go against you. Basically, even if it hits your face, you're really not really upset about it because you're getting that spell for free with the caveat of the 5 cards. That's really the important part. You're using Ultimate Infestation as you're taking a roll with it and using it as card draw for the most part. This deck can be kind of streaky if you draw both Ultimate Infestations. Basically, your Spitefuls and your Grand Archivists are dead. It is very draw dependent. There are some nerfed cards in here with Bone Mare and Corridor Creeper. I think Bone Mare will still work in here. Corridor Creeper can just be subbed in by a large maybe 5 cost minion would be fine. Maybe double up on the Cobalt Scalebane. But really, you're just going to use the value that you get from this deck to soften up your opponents for that Ultimate Infestation out of nowhere or the Leroy Jenkins.
Okay, cool. Rasika, you got any thoughts? You have this look on your face like you're contemplating something.
Well, I'm looking at this list, and I'm trying to decide whether it survives the nerf.
Matt at Arms said somebody restart Versika. He looks like he crashed.
Actually, so I'm looking at this, and post nerf, I like the idea of dropping a bone mare for a cobalt, dropping both corridor creepers, probably. I don't know. I'm thinking maybe Ancients of War.
That might work. I was looking at it also and thinking maybe you put in Spreading Plague. Obviously, the Priest version of the Spiteful deck has 2/8 cost and 2/10 cost. And while the Spreading Plague is 6 cost, which isn't great, it's something if you end up drawing into the double Ultimate Infestation. And it gives you a little bit of flexibility.
I was going to say, you might be able to just one corridor creeper for Cobalt Scalebane, one corridor creeper for Primordial Drake, and then drop the Archivist for Primordial Drake.
I like the Primordial Drake mainly because you're really hurting not having swipe in this deck.
Yeah.
If they go wide, it's really rough because you don't have Spreading Plagues in here. You kind of rely on the Malfurion with those 2/1/5 taunts. And you do often get the Mire Keeper going wide instead of with mana when you get in those matchups. The Serenite Chain Gangs are really good in this deck. It's a good deck, but it's basically a lesser version, in my opinion, of the Spiteful
I want to throw a shout out because our friend Navalus, patron of the show, does a little Twitter show called What the Deck. And this was his spotlighted deck last week. And I actually reached out to him and I said, so what would you replace Corridor Creeper and Patches with in this deck post-nerf? And he got back with me and said, I would probably test Druid of the Swarm, Crypt Lord, Firefly in place of the Creepers, the Captains, and Patches. Not sure if it would be right, but it might be worth trying.
So putting more of the aggro druid package in it, that might actually work because you don't really need the living manas in that case. And as we're giving credit out for the deck, while Navalus spotlighted this, he did give credit to Wickedgood for the originator of this deck.
Yeah, and
that does seem like
Wickedgood has written a very well done, very in-depth article about this deck that I will link to in our show notes, where he spotlights the cards and then he talks about favorable matchups and unfavorable matchups for this deck.
As he always does. Wickedgood is one of the premier, one of the best deck builders in kind of the podcasting community that I know of that's not really a pro player, and he's very, very accomplished.
I like putting Crypt Lords in place of the South Sea Captains.
I do.
Okay. All right. So, make sure you check out the show notes once the show is live. You can find those on heropowerhs.com, and we'll have a link to Wickedgood's article, and of course we will have the full deck list and deck code posted in the notes. So, all right, guys, that's going to do it for us this week.
Well, one last thing, reminder: the pack event starts tomorrow. To get entered in a drawing, you have to finish your quest for the day. So make sure you log in. One quest. You can't stack them up and get multiple drawings in one day. You have to do a quest a day. So tomorrow, if you're listening to this before the release of the supposed patch, wait until after 9 a.m. Pacific Standard Time before you do your first quest, and make sure to log in every day and complete your quest to get entered in a drawing. The maximum number you can get is 14 entrants. It's one per account per day for 14 days, and it's per account. So you can't do it on multiple regions and get multiple entries. You're just going to get one entry per account.
Per battle.net account.
Yeah.
So if you don't like your quest, I believe you should be able to go over to like the EU region, do the quest there, and it'll still count because it's still part of that account.
All right. Also, if you are a patron and you are considering participating in this weekend's Hero Power Patron Invitational Tournament, signups are active now on Battlefy. You can find the link and the password to sign up in our Discord, in the Patron Tournament chat channel. Go over there, check it out, sign up. Tomorrow, the post has been up now for a few days. All patrons $5 and up are eligible. If we still have spots open, I'd say probably by the time you're listening to this, tomorrow night, Friday morning, we will open the tournament up to other patrons. So keep an eye out. Keep checking the Discord, and we'll let you know when and if that happens. So, all right, guys, if you're joining us on Twitch or YouTube, stay tuned for the live play portion of our show. If you are listening via the audio podcast, we'd like to thank you for joining us. Remember, you can follow us on Twitter at HeroPower_cast. You can find all of our past episodes on YouTube at youtube.com/ECMMOgamers or on our website at HeroPowerHS.com. If you enjoy the show, you'd like to help support and improve it, or you'd like to join our patron-only Discord or participate in the Patron Invitational Tournaments, you can find all of that information at patreon.com/HeroPower. And we'll see you all again next week.
And don't forget to use your hero power.
Alrighty, gang. Are we ready to play some Druid?
As ready as I can be.
Okay.
I'm having to restart my client. It'll be just a second.
Yeah, let me know once you have found a worthy opponent, Zeroshio, and we will...
All right. Starting to spin-a-rooney now.
I didn't know you were Booker T.
Shh, don't tell anybody. Shucky ducky quack quack.
Oh my.
Five time.
I've only been two-time legend.
Yeah.
I've been two-time legend. Oh man, this guy just smacked his face on the keyboard to make his battle tag. Twigs. Must play Hunter. Okay.
Oh.
So I have a.
Oh, I love it.
I have a worthy opponent, and I'm facing a rather odd name Warlock, and I have Greedy Sprite, UI, and Bone Mare. Obviously, Greedy Sprite needs to be the only keep.
Yeah.
UI, you do not want to keep. I think even Tom 60229 wouldn't keep Ultimate Infestation in this deck.
Maybe. I don't know.
Too soon?
He's
Too
the
soon?
world champion.
Sorry,
We're
Frozen.
not. I can't make that call.
Sorry, Frozen. Too soon. Oh, we draw patches.
That's
Not
just
gonna have to worry
bad
about
form.
that much more.
Yeah. You should
So-
know better than to draw patches.
A lot of people like to hold the patches for the South Sea Captain. So you have that 2/2. However, if we throw out patches now, it plays around the librarian, the Kobold Librarian, on turn 1 for the Warlock. What do you think?
Are we really worried about the librarian? I think we would just hero power the librarian down, right?
That's true. That's true. Go ahead and pass. Okay.
Yeah.
Just throwing out options.
Yeah, I think.
Obviously,
pass.
Mortal Coil would have been bad.
Right.
Ooh, but we did draw into the Enchanted Raven. There's not much reason to hold the Raven, right?
Sorry, I banned our new follower.
No. Totally
Good job.
worthwhile.
Wonderful.
I like
We-
Raven here.
But do we throw the patches next to her?
I think so.
Okay.
I know
Gives
that
him-
plays into Defile, but if he uses a Defile now, we don't have to
yeah.
deal with it later.
That's great if he uses Defile now.
Yeah. It's almost teasing him to. If he doesn't have a Hellfire, he might. Especially now that he's got the Plated Beetle out there.
Greedy Sprite all day?
I don't think there's any question. I'm trying to make sure that we don't have a better play with Glacial Shard and Hero Power patches into the Beetle.
Well, Greedy Sprite sets up for a Cobalt Skullbane next turn.
Right.
If he clears it.
If he clears it. Which, if he defiles, he will.
Yeah.
I think you just go ahead and push face and play the Greedy Sprite.
I like that. Against this, usually Plated Beetle signifies control or possibly Q block. And you want to get that damage in early so the Hellfires, he gets punished for them. So he's not going to kill the Greedy Sprite, which is probably smart on his end. Ooh, Mario Keeper.
It did
Right.
take away... It took away his Defile. So either he doesn't have it or he's not playing it. I think we take away... Do we want to... I don't think we clear the board for him.
Do we kill off our Sprite so we have the mana next turn?
I
don't need
almost
it.
think we go ahead and punish him for not taking care of it.
Okay. So do we just go face with the 3/1, clear the Plated Beetle, and throw out Mire Keeper for mana? Obviously, clear the Plated Beetle first so we get rid of the armor.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think clear the plated, go face. Play our next. I say we go and play the other Greedy Sprite and Glacial Shard, the other Beetle.
Okay, I like it. I'm cool with that.
Mad at Arms in chat says ramp, ramp, ramp.
Yeah, we want to ramp. It's whether we want to ramp with putting the Greedy Sprites out. We'll get all that in one turn, seems like. So I think he's going to clear the board.
Yeah, he's gonna
Defile.
Defile.
Yeah,
That gives us 2 mana crystals.
that is correct.
Ooh, Bone Mare.
So
I think we straight up drop Naked Scalebane and we Hero Power down the Beetle.
yeah. I was gonna say, what would you think about Mire
I mean,
Keeper
you could
with the
Mire
2/2
Keeper.
to
You
get
could-
that
you
way we
could-
maybe have a target next turn for Bone Mare.
You could do that. I think we still clear the Beetle.
Yes, I agree.
So we
We
clear the
don't
Beetle.
we don't really need the ramp now, so we could go watch Mire Keeper.
2/2.
Yeah,
I like this, and the main reason is because with the Kobold Librarian coming out, like what, on turn 3, I think it was.
Mm-hmm.
That would empower the Spellstone. He's gonna
So-
dark pack that.
Yeah, he's
Yeah.
gonna go get his Void Lord.
Bone Mare the 3/3 and just start chipping away.
I think so.
I don't think you have much of an option.
I mean, we can
Yeah.
kill it if you Bone Mare the.
Well,
Yeah,
then you got the 3/1/3s. I mean, it's really your only play.
Yeah, we can work our way through it. That's
Yeah,
I'm not
yeah.
too terribly worried about it. And those 3/1/3s can't clear the 7/4 on their own.
No,
He's still gonna have to, even if he Hellfires.
I was just
Well,
going to
it's the
say,
Rin
here comes
version.
the Rin. Yeah.
So with the Rin version, that tells me he's not running the Doom Guard, which is good to know.
But that puts us on a clock,
True.
which is why I play this version. This is the version I played against Andrew's Living.
So the 7/4 into Rin 5/5 clears a 1/3, and then we Cobalt, Scalebane, and Serenite Chain just to go wide.
So, no.
No.
That's exactly what you. If I'm him, I want you to clear the Ren for me.
So clear 2 1/3s.
I would clear the 2 1/3s, and then I would go ahead and put out Saronite and Scalebane.
Okay.
Make him run the Ren in.
Okay.
To clear that 7/3. If he, and I can't imagine he won't, but if for some reason he doesn't, hope we get Spellbreaker this next turn.
Yeah, and we're turned off of Twisting Nether. Now with the Rin version, I usually only see one twisting, but he could have pulled something else for the second. He is running 2 plated beetles too, which is kind of usually it's a one of. Really need to get into the Grand Archivist or Spiteful. And there's the Spellstone powered up. I knew he'd have that. We could take a 2/3 into the 1/3 and use our face, and then just push home to face.
Yeah, I would keep.
Should we tap
Raven in
first?
hand?
I would keep the Raven back, but
Or
I
tap.
would. I would
Hero
go ahead
power,
and clear
yeah.
with. I would clear with the 2/3 in face,
Then face.
and then face with everything. Play Leroy and go face with everything else.
Yeah.
Play Leroy too.
Well,
going
so
Leroy?
here's the next turn will be
So
Twisting.
my thing is
Twisting
I was gonna say,
with Lord into Gul'dan.
yeah.
You're not going to push. You are not going to get Leroy through again.
I was say if he has the
Okay.
other defile, then it's a board clear, but that doesn't matter.
Holding Raven, right?
Yeah.
Okay. I mean that's I don't mind the play. I think it's a little greedy, but I think that's how we win this match. And there's a twisting.
Yeah.
I don't understand the trade-in.
I don't either. Malfurion.
Ooh, that's not a bad pickup. So we're
He's
going
going
to
to
turn.
Void Lord, so I would do the spiders. I would do the poison spiders.
That was going to be my thing. Is if we do spiders, and I think we do.
Yeah.
And then damage to face.
Yep.
Yep.
And play the Raven.
Yeah, and go ahead and play the Raven.
Yeah, that's more.
The board
damage.
board clears are done,
Presumably.
presumably.
I mean, he still has another defile, but he doesn't have a defile board.
Yeah.
He could have a second twisting nether.
This
There
will
are
be
2
Void-
hellfires.
This will be Void Lord. Either Void Lords or starts his Ren cycle.
Yeah, there's the Void Lord. We can clear the Void Lord and one of the 1/3s. Well, 2 of them with our face.
Yeah.
And go ahead and lay your Tar Creeper.
Yeah.
Matt at Arms says he still has Hellfires for clear.
Yeah, he still has hellfires. And it seemed like he hesitated slightly. And I'm
Yeah.
wondering if he didn't consider a hellfire.
I'm also wondering if he's getting low on health ish. He's already used a Dark Pack,
So
so if he doesn't have Gul'dan in hand, he may be a little concerned about the extra 3 damage because
Do I
he's going to
run
have to
this-
start digging for him soon.
do I run this into the 1/3 to play around another defile?
Yes.
That way he can't drop a 4 health minion and clear the whole board.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah,
now he's
got it.
starting his seals.
So what this tells me is that he doesn't have Gul'dan, because Gul'dan would have come down right then.
Yep. Archivist, come on.
Keleseth is not what you needed.
We're just pushing face right after I clear this with the Tar Creeper.
I would clear that with the Tar Creeper. I would run a spotter into the 3/3, otherwise it's going to get eaten by a 2/2.
Okay.
I would
Spider
Keleseth and then push everything else face.
Damage.
Yep.
Yep.
Okay. He really needs Gul'dan. I think if he gets Gul'dan, we might lose. But
If he gets
doesn't-
Gul'dan, we do lose, because you're 2 turns away from getting your deck demolished.
Yep.
3 if he plays Gul'dan. But if he doesn't have Gul'dan, he's just going to run the Ren cycle. That's why I like the deck, is because there's 2 viable ways to win.
If he can't clear the Tar Creeper,
He can.
okay, he silenced it, which takes 2 damage off the board. That's he's having a Dark Pact.
Yeah.
Yep. Glacier Shard to 4/4, go face.
Yep.
That Glacial Shard is huge.
And I don't
Oh, man.
think we have the damage to push through. We would
Not if-
need
we
Bone
need
Mare.
him not to draw. Yeah, we need him not to draw Gul'dan.
Yeah. Well, he'll play both Rens needed to get the 10/10 in his hand this turn. Even if I'm him, even if I drew Gul'dan here, I'm probably going to go ahead and do that.
There's Steely Dan.
There he is. So what, he drew that last turn?
Yeah,
It was the second card over?
off his tap.
Yeah. That will pretty much do it, sir. Bottom right.
Do we concede from 30?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And again, we didn't get the Spitefuls. We didn't get the Grand Archivist. We didn't even draw into Ultimate Infestation on turn 10 or at 10 mana. That's where this deck can suffer. You almost need one of those 3 pieces to pull off wins against decks like that.
So, also important to note that he had everything he needed when he needed it, except
For Gul'dan.
for Gul'dan, and he drew them. He drew it within the turns he needed to draw it to finish out the game. It wasn't the perfect game, but it was really close.
Yeah. Yeah.
And actually, I because of Ren, I actually did cut one of my Hellfires.
Yeah, that, and a lot of times you will cut a Hellfire or you won't use double twisting nether. So we have Patches, Bone Mare, Chant Raven, UI. We just keep the Raven, right? Against Mage, the Super Ninja.
Yeah, and this is probably going to be Control Mage.
Yeah, I agree. I think we throw everything back but
So
the Raven.
Control Mage is extremely popular right now.
right.
The South Sea Captain's actually a good snag.
Yeah.
Oh,
It's
no, it's not.
Quest.
Quest Mage. If this is that Quest Control hybrid, we're in trouble.
So, Raven,
Yeah.
if this is Quest Control Hybrid, do we feel like we'll need to coin out South Sea?
Yeah.
Or do we... Oh...
I think you've got to. Well, no. Yeah, because you're going to Mire Keeper into mana. He'll have to take next turn to deal with Patches and South Sea Captain. He can't.
So
He
coin out
can't
South Sea and go face?
Yeah, he can't face down that much. He can't get his stuff with that much pressure on the board. He'll have to deal with it. So that's going to slow him down enough for you to get to your Mire Keeper turn.
And if we get the Mire Keeper, then we can Spiteful on 5.
Right.
Yeah, Mad at Arms in chat says just Smork.
Yeah. Yeah.
he has to deal with your board right now. So if he doesn't deal with your board, you're going to put him, yeah.
We're going to hero power that down. Oof.
Right.
Yeah, and
You
hit him
hero
for
power
5.
that down and you hit him for 5.
Drawing that UI scares me because we only have one more in the deck. If we draw it, then the Spiteful's dead. We have 2 turns not to draw UI.
Right.
So that's one thing about this. Gets my anxiety up. So, no, don't do this to us.
And you got the Archivist. All right, Mire Keeper.
For mana,
Yeah.
Yeah.
patches to clear that
No.
face.
Face.
Yep.
Okay, sounds good to me.
Face
You
is the
want
plus.
him to clear. You want him to be concentrating on what you're doing on the board, not what you got in your hand.
And this mage doesn't really have a way to bounce or copy those oracles once they're on the board.
Right.
Ooh, Artificer, that might have to die.
We will. But I bet he didn't want to waste.
Oof.
As you already say, I bet he didn't want to waste the Artificer on those.
No. Ooh, he went face. That's interesting. Spiteful.
Oh!
No! Why? Why do we do this to us, Blizzard?
All right, so now I think we have to ramp again.
Yeah, we've got to get to those UIs.
So, play the Keeper and Keleseth?
I'm mourning. I'm holding
yeah.
on.
Well, I mean, you're going into a Blizzard turn. If you're going to lose them. So
Keeper.
Keleseth?
If you
Yes.
play Sarnot's Chain Gang, he can't do anything else to it. Blizzard keeps them in check. You
So we're
still
gonna kill him.
lose.
There's Keleseth.
Yeah.
I think you still lose everything anyway.
Serenite or Keeper.
Well,
Matt-
since you play Keleseth, you need to do Mire Keeper. Yeah, Mire Keeper into mana.
Okay.
I was trying to think of a play with Sarnot Chain Gang and Hero Power into the Artificer to make sure that he died next turn. Because this
Well,
is
if
going to
we-
be Blizzard.
Yeah. But he's gonna have to run something to finish off 3 of the minions.
Not really.
Just ignore him.
I was getting ready to say he can just ignore him at this point and pick him off with his Hero Power.
All right, so do we Spellbreaker the Artificer?
There's no way to get to it otherwise.
So Spellbreaker and then Chain Gang.
Yeah,
Yeah.
We need to lessen our hand because
yeah,
we want to do UI out in 10 mana, right?
yeah. You're going to have to do UI on 10. You have to cast it the hard way.
Well, yeah.
This is also if he has a Flame Strike or another Blizzard, he may have to do it without an Artificer on board, which is good for us.
Yeah. This is why I really would like at least just Spreading Plagues in the deck. So there's another option. There's not really
Right.
a lot. Druid doesn't have a lot of like 8 mana spells or anything like that. That's really good to put in the deck. Maybe they
Right.
will with the next set. That'd be great.
All right, so now we start going to town, I guess.
I think you Scalebane
Greedy Sprite.
Sprite.
Scalebane, Sprite, face.
Yeah.
Trixie in chat says, Zoroshio, show them the way of the coin.
That's something. That is something he does in his chat. So is show them the way. Show them the way. Show me the way. He's hilarious. If you haven't checked out Trixie TR1XE on Twitch, he's hilarious.
Okay, so that is going to be Ice Block for sure. Here
There's
comes
the Nova.
Frost Nova Doomsayer.
Mm,
No Doomsayer.
no Doomsayer. So we'll burn cards if we UI.
Correct.
But do we?
Oh,
Creeper, and
that's
then
just not good. I'd say you Archivist, Hero Power Face.
okay.
Is there any merit to? I'm trying to think of ways we can get UI out next turn. Even if we Spiteful Summoner Greedy Sprite, it's still going to burn us a card.
Yep. There's
Right.
no way.
Yeah. We just need to push some kind of damage.
Right.
Yeah.
4/7 is a little tougher for him to deal with.
That's correct. I wish that didn't
it would
go
eat
on
a
one.
fireball at least.
I was going to say, hopefully, Scalebane hits it and it becomes
Well,
bigger.
now he knows we have 2 UIs in our hand.
Yes, that's correct.
Now he's taking the time to laugh
Yeah.
because he knows we have 2 UIs in our hand. Oh, Frost Nova again.
There's
The end
the
is
Doomsayer.
Here comes the end. Well, this is going to activate for Corridor Creeper next turn, which is decent.
Right.
Yeah.
We'll be able to drop quite a bit next turn.
So Hero
We'll
Power
have
Face.
Bone Bear target. Hero Power Face. I think we're dead in the water, but I don't know for sure.
Just trying to think of any merit to just UIing face, burning a couple cards.
He's nowhere close on his quest. That's a plus.
Well, that doesn't mean anything because he can
Yeah.
pull that off. He can pull at least 4 off
In
right
one
away
turn.
in one turn. Oh,
Yeah.
wow, that's preemptive.
Now he starts working through the quest.
Main deck Simulacrum. That's interesting. Oh no, I'm thinking of the other card, not Simulacrum.
Well,
I
I
know
think the summoner doesn't do us any good. We need to drop our hand size. Tar Creeper actually may come in a little handy later, especially in conjunction with Bone Bear. If we decide not to use it on Corridor Creeper, I think we can make a strong case for using it on Tar Creeper. So I'd
What's the
say
play here?
we throw out Greedy Sprite and Spiteful Summoner. Everything
still-
dies to Doomsayer anyway.
That's still not going to get our hand even close enough to do
No,
that.
but next turn we can get our hand size down.
Yeah.
Okay.
If we survive that long. But not if you don't drop Summoner and Sprite this turn.
Okay. I'm just wondering if we just abandon the UI and just focus on getting value on the board next turn. But we can still get value on the board next turn. I'm not really worried about that.
Next turn is going to be a pretty scary board for him. It's going to put him on a clock. Because
Yeah.
both Frost Novas have been used. Both Doomsayers have been used.
Only one Blizzard.
Only one Blizzard, but you got to have the follow-up.
Yeah. He's actually used 3 Frost Novas.
Yeah. There's the
Fireball.
first fireball.
Here comes the damage.
That was off
That's
Babbling Book. So
That goes towards his quest.
Yep. All right. Drop the big board.
So how are we going to sequence this? Tar Creeper and then Bone Mare the Tar Creeper and then throw Corridor Creeper next to it?
I
Yeah.
think so.
Okay.
But
That
remember,
way we have 3 threats.
Yeah.
3 threat.
I don't guess it really matters. They're all going to be 6 health, so it doesn't really matter where
Yeah.
they are.
I was getting ready to say,
Or actually,
he's
yeah, it
going to
does.
drop
There
a
you go.
meteor on one. so-
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
That
Yeah.
you want to have your 10 health on the far side, whether it's left or right. It really doesn't matter.
Right.
Yeah.
The Keleseth buff is actually coming into play. I didn't think it would. Wow!
Off of the
Wow.
glyph.
4 Frost Novas.
But we can actually UI him this turn.
Yeah, and that's 5 armor.
Yeah.
So,
And that'll put him down to 6.
Oh, that's a good follow-up. So UI face?
yeah. Wow. We can actually create almost the exact same board state if he clears.
Next turn, if he clears, yeah. Almost. I mean, the Corridor Creeper, if he only gets our... Uh-oh.
Apprentice.
he going off?
Yeah. This is it.
No, he can't. He can't. Can he? No, he can run his minions. And I think he was going to fill his board up and wouldn't be able to have room. No, he's fine. Okay. Now, he may not be, because I have seen people bluff this. But he's going really fast for bluffing.
Yeah.
There's the quest.
Just
now
comes the
1 mana.
quest. I was going to say this will be a hero power to face.
Matt at Arms says this guy should go buy a lotto ticket immediately after this game.
Yeah.
I don't know. He's got 3 cards left in his deck. So, yeah. I mean, he gotten pretty far through it. We gave him the time for it. Yeah, right now I'm at rank 5, and from rank 5 to 3, it's like Clown Fiesta. It is. I'm playing so many different types of decks that are just nutso. I played against a Cthulhu Warrior the other day. It's just there. It's just crazy. I played against a Cthulhu Priest, a Cthulhu Highlander Priest yesterday. What is that?
That's Versika
Yeah,
style.
that's exactly.
Not
what
gonna
that
lie.
is.
I have a Highlander Cthulhu deck.
That's nutso. It was good. It beat the crap out of me. It was really good.
Yeah.
Oh, all right.
And you can blame Apex Predator for that one because he got Rod onto the Cthulhu train, and then I'm like, oh yeah, this is a card. So
That's
I
right.
started going back through looking at my Cthulhu stuff, and I was just like, oh wow, okay.
All right, guys. Well, that's going to do it this week. If you have any questions or comments about the show, please email us at heropowerpodcast@gmail.com. Please hit that subscribe button below on YouTube if you haven't done so already. Give us a follow on Twitch to be alerted when we go live. If you are interested in getting more details about our patron-only Discord or our patron-only Hearthstone tournaments, those events have a cash prize payout. You can find that information over at patreon.com/heropower.
That's right.
And as always, we'll see you again next week.
Bye, guys. It was fun.